Oh, Jesus, I pray the Eagles beat the Patriots.
Yes.
As you may have heard, today is the Super Bowl, and Philly's playing, so it's a big event. I love the energy that's going on in the city. Everything's lit up in green at night, and there's a commonality that's going on. People who often don't care about sports are picking up on the energy, and it's really cool. You drop by Wawa anytime before 4 o'clock, get free coffee. I mean, that's
cool.
That's a gift from heaven. And what I said to begin with, Jesus, I pray the Eagles beat the Patriots, is an example of not a practical prayer. What to talk about today is making prayer practical. What we want to do when we say a prayer, when we are involved in that spiritual practice of prayer and intentional creation, is to bring about a new experience in life. And we will use that as one of the examples of prayers that aren't necessarily going anywhere. Because when I'm praying to Jesus, and the only thing that made that a prayer, by the way, is that I said it was a prayer. I pray, and then I mentioned something spiritual. Jesus. Why in the world would I believe that Jesus is going to help beat the Patriots? Do I have a belief there? Am I trying to activate something in my belief system so that some different experience can happen in life? Let's look at that. You know what the winning team in the Super Bowl needs more than anything? Yeah, good players is important, and the fans are important, and what they really need is another team that's good enough to beat them, to take to the field with them so they can duke it out and figure out who's going to be the winner. Because this evening, there are going to be two teams that made it all the way to the Super Bowl. And under any other circumstances, that's pretty awesome. That's top tier. Now, we all have our desires about who's going to win the game. And taking that into prayer is a little bit tricky, because the idea of the game is that either one of them could win. If it were locked, if there were no question whatsoever who was going to be winning the game, it wouldn't be interesting. If the Eagles were playing a bunch of middle schoolers, you probably wouldn't pay $100 for the ticket, because you know what's going to happen. And the infinite, that divine creative power that created everything and continues to create everything, God, spirit, nature, that creative force, has no sense of time, is aware of everything throughout time and space at all times. That's what infinite means. So if you heard that there was somebody, a football player, who's going to rush for 2,000 yards in the season, it'd be pretty noteworthy. You'd want to pay attention. If you already knew who it was and you knew what was going to go on in all the games, it would be less interesting. And if you knew that the first person in history who did that was O.J. Simpson, that's probably not the first thing that would come to your mind when you think about O.J. Simpson, because there's a bigger picture. And that's the important part, is that there is a bigger picture. We do the Practical Prayer for Real Results workshop. The example that I use of a prayer that is really not a good prayer is, "Oh God, please don't let them take my house." And that sounds so impassioned. "Oh God, please don't let them take my house." But let's unpack that. Because you know what that means, and it's got a lot of energy to it. But that first part, "Oh God, please," what I'm doing is I'm identifying a power that is outside of me, up there in the sky, out there in the infinite, someplace else, clouds, angels, all the rest of that stuff. There is this power. The only thing that I know for sure is that it's not in me. I'm looking to something outside of myself to do me a favor, to help me out. "Oh God, please," I'm begging, if I say it nice enough, if I'm sweet enough, then that's going to change God's mind. "Oh God, please don't." Really? I'm going to pray for what I don't want? We can't pray for what we don't want. God don't know no. God don't know not. When I talk about somebody taking my house in a prayer, what I'm looking at is somebody taking my house. This also has the notion of them, that like there's some malevolent force out there that is that's angling for my house, and they're going to take it away. Oh God, please don't let them take my house. What we're really looking for is to be at peace with where we live, to have that perfect home. So that prayer would be more along the lines of, God as Spirit gives me my perfect home. That's not nearly as passionate. That's not nearly as exciting as, oh God, please don't let them take my house. And that's okay, because what we want to do is create a movement in consciousness which will create a change in our experience. So if you're invested in the Super Bowl, if you want the Eagles to win, then you get to look at why do you want the Eagles to win? Because that will make me happy. That will make me deliriously happy. That will make me feel like I'm on top of the world. Okay, if you could feel deliriously happy and on top of the world and all those feelings of success and power and contentment without the Eagles playing in the Super Bowl at all, why would you get them involved? It doesn't really have anything to do with you. And when we're going to take our feelings of power and joy and satisfaction in life and hook it on a sports team, which, by the way, the whole thing is set up. Every Sunday, half of them lose. Every Sunday, half of the teams lose. And the reason that they do that is because that's the way it's set up. In order to have winners, we have to have losers. So as soon as we get involved in that game, what we're saying is, I am involved in a situation that has half losers. If your team don't come out on top, does that make you a loser? Does that make your team a loser? No. No, they're still playing in the Super Bowl. They're still top athletes. They're still one of the best teams in the world. It's about where it comes out there. So what do you want instead? Making prayer practical is about identifying what it is that we really want to experience and what it is that we believe can be ours. The other one that I sometimes bring up is that I could pray to be a skinny 16-year-old girl. I have no belief whatsoever that that's going to happen. Skinny, maybe. Girl, there are techniques to make that happen. 16, nope. That one's simply not going to happen for me. And I'm not going in that direction. If I were going in that direction, I would have to identify, what is it that I really want to experience? What is it that I want to be feeling? What is going to be added to my life when I have whatever it is that I'm looking for? And then the prayer is about that. It's about opening up the channel so that that good can come into our lives that way. As soon as we're making a prayer for some power outside of ourselves to change our experience so that we can be better, we have acknowledged, we have brought into our belief system that we're not good enough now. And that sense of not enoughness is the biggest challenge that we have in our lives. To think that I don't deserve the good, that I can't have the love, that there isn't enough for me, that I am not adequate to the circumstance or the challenge of the situation. And those things, that's just starts out as just a tiny little seed thought, but that's the sort of thing that can grow and grow and grow. Which is why we always like to pay attention to our self-talk. Anybody have self-talk ever? Today? There's that voice that's continuously going, and sometimes is in judgment, saying, this is no good, that's bad, I'm not enough, it's not anything, it's a problem, difficulty, challenge, whatever. And sometimes there's a song that just gets stuck in our head. And sometimes there are really uplifting, positive things that get stuck in our head. The interesting thing is, it's your head. You can put whatever you want in there and let it roll around. So if you find yourself either with a song going through your mind that you don't need again, you can replace it with different words, with different thoughts, with different ideas. If you're finding yourself thinking those negative thoughts and feeling those feelings of inadequacy, really simple. I am enough. I am loved. I am valuable. I am prosperous. I am joyous. And you say it, and it may or may not make a change in your life, in your experience, in your emotions, in your day-to-day right away. But what it does is it changes the tendency. If we tend to think, I am worthy, I am valuable, I am joyous, I am loved, I am enough, or if the challenges that we often are getting into are ones about relationships or money, we can claim, I am prosperous, I am loved. And that's where the power of the prayer comes in. We can claim anything that we want to experience in our lives. And what we do is we put that into a prayer so that instead of, oh God, please don't let them take my house, what we're doing is we're turning to that infinite power, that creative power that knows everything, that's been everywhere, that is everything, and within us. We turn within to acknowledge that power within. That divine power and presence that created everything created me. It is me right here and now. I am not all of God, but God is all of me. Everything that I am is connected to and part of that divine creative power. And knowing that, I can then make a positive and powerful statement about what's coming into my life. So anybody with some attachment about the outcome of the game want to try putting some words onto that? What can we pray for that's believable?
It's going to play victory.
We can pray that everybody, that all the fans are happy, that everybody has a delightful experience, that there is joy and love and delight unfolding. Because if that happens, regardless of what happens on the field, then we've moved ourselves ahead. In the same way that we can't pray for both teams today to win, because that would ruin the game, we have to pray within the context of whatever it is that we're setting out to do. When I get into my car and I want it to fly, it's not going to. If I want to fly, I got to get into something different. Okay? If I want it to float across a lake, I got to get into something different, at least after the first few feet. It's about being in tune and in harmony with where we are. So when we're making prayers practical, what we always have to do is turn our attention within. What is that power and presence within? If there is, in fact, an infinite creative power that has created everything, including me, how do I open the channel so I'm more aware of it? How do I claim that that good that I'm seeking is also seeking me? One of the ways we can do it is just remember the truth of who and what we are. Come on, Peerless. Because actually we sing about this. It's the only song that we sing every week. I'm going to go through just a little bit more of it and listen with fresh ears. Right place at the right time, right here and right now. Anytime we think we're not in the right place or this is not the right time, we're paying attention to something that's not true. And we get to pivot and turn to, I am in the right place at the right time. My soul is welcome here. My self is welcome here. My essence is welcome here. Whatever it is that I'm looking for is inviting itself to me right now. I don't know what's going to happen in the game today. Dave knows.
Yes, I do.
Dave absolutely knows what's going to happen in the game today.
I haven't lost the best football bet in 13 years.
Go Birds. And whatever happens in your life, invite that next new experience to be one that's going to be joyous, loving, prosperous, peaceful, fun, entertaining. Because while the game's going on tonight, elsewhere in the world, people are going to be getting shot at. Not around here. There are places in the world where that happens. There are going to be people in the hospital. There's going to be challenges and problems and difficulties. That's part of life. That's part of the program that we're with. It's not that that is bad. That's what's going on. So my prayer is for joy and for peace and for harmony and for love and for the tendency to experience good to be uplifting everybody tonight and all the time. And with a practical prayer, when we make it practical, I'm not looking for something to stop happening. I'm inviting something new into my experience, not to get it to happen out there, where my ego tells me it's supposed to happen, but to change the feeling that I have inside. What's uplifting me? What's making my life joyous and happy? And the same thing goes for you. So take a moment now. Think of something that would make you be joyous and delightful. It could be doing the victory dance at the end of the Super Bowl tonight. It could be reconnecting with a long-lost friend. It could be anything. So just take a deep breath and settle into that feeling. Not the thing happening, but the feeling that comes from the thing happening. And we take that idea and we shape the words around that so that we are opening ourselves up to that as the good in our lives, allowing ourselves to be positive about how that's showing up in our lives, allowing it to be personal for us, claiming the truth to whatever ability that we have. When I say prosperous, I don't put a dollar figure on that. There are, people for whom, if I had $2 million, I'd be set. There are people, if they had $2 million, they'd be ruined. It doesn't have anything to do with the money. It has to do with wherever somebody is in that flow. So whatever your calibration is, whatever it is that you're looking for, it's okay. You're not taking anything away from anybody else by having it, as long as it's your good for you. When you get into, in order for me to win, somebody else has to lose, then you've bought into a game where there's losers. And if you don't have to, why would you invite yourself into a game where there's losers? You're not playing the Super Bowl. You're playing life. You can be a winner. You already are a winner. And you can win even more and more and more and more as more of that love and good and joy comes into your life. You deserve it because you're wonderful. So it is.